Nothing like watching what's happening during the hearings. Trump's the only guy that could give you entertainment on Capitol Hill. He's every candidate. Now, RFK's up there. And you know, these senators are getting the switchboard lit up because the Make America Healthy Again, movement isn't just Republican. And so they're hearing from everybody. This guy's going to shake things up, And what's funny about the whole nutrition thing is, and I've got a segment we're going to go into with Jesse Walters in a second, is that really it's amazing how junked up and toxically, chemically indoctrinated we have been for so many years. It's to our own destruction. Our kids have been being destroyed. I want you to look at these words: rapid hydration, digestive enzymes. Just a quick thought. Annabelle wakes me up every day since I started talking to Jordan Rubin about this. Instead of a cup of coffee, I get instant hydration. I haven't had water all night. A lot of times, people think they're hungry when in fact they're dehydrated. A lot of times they got mental fog, and what they really need is hydration. And they need the electrolytes that comes with hydration. But there's a new product out that I want to show you that doesn't have sugar. You'd be shocked at how much of the hydration products has sugar in them, and that and when you're doing the sugary stuff, you're hungry. This actually will kill your appetite more and not put sugar in you, but combined with the digestive enzymes that absorb the nutrients from the meals you do eat, that eliminates the bloatiness and gives you that sustained sense of energy. I mean, Chelsea, you're in the studio with me. You told me you handed some of this out to your family at Thanksgiving?
Oh, yes. So I love this bundle. We put this bundle especially for you guys because with the hydration packets and the digestive enzymes, there are two things I throw in my purse, throw in my backpack, I keep with me all the time. It's great to have on the go because they're things I use as I need them. And so if I'm feeling dehydrated, maybe I've been in the chute under the lights all day, drinking too much coffee, I take the hydration packs. The enzymes I take with every meal, and I brag about them to my friends because I've been getting to a point where I can eat more of what I want. I just make sure I take these enzymes. So at Thanksgiving, I was like, hey, does anybody want any enzymes? And I was like, hello, here's my bottle. And I passed them out like candy. Everybody wanted them. And nobody felt that, like, you know how normally at the end of Thanksgiving or at the end of Christmas dinner, you're like bloated and you feel painful? Nobody felt painful, and they definitely ate way too much food. So it's a great thing to have. They're easy to take with any meal. You just take 3. It helps you digest your food. It helps.
It's just a crazy combination that these guys put together. So go to lancewallnau.com/fuel. You're going to be getting a big discount. I think it's a double tie. It's like 20% off right now. But it's available. It's brand new. This hydration product is just coming out today. It's why I wanted to get it out for you. It's a limited offer. lancewallnau.com/fuel, 20% off the bundle. Go for the digestive enzymes here, the hydration over here. I mean, we practice with these products, and you'll love them. You'll feel different. We certainly do. All right, so take action right now. Go to the website, Lance Wallnau. Bring it back up, lancewallnau.com/fuel, and then watch Jesse Waters.
I want to tell you a little story about Jimmy. So Jimmy wakes up in the morning and both parents work, so they don't have time to make him eggs, and he has Frosted Flakes and fruit juice. So he goes to school and he's all hopped up on sugar, and then he crashes. And then he does the school lunch program, and he has grilled cheese, Cheetos, and cherry Coke, hopped up again, then crashes. The people at the school tell the parents, man, this kid must be bipolar or ADHD. You got to medicate him. So he's medicated. And then he doesn't really do recess because he's looking on his phone the whole time. After school program, he's inside. And then he goes home, and since his parents are helicopter parents, they don't let him outside to play in the neighborhood because they're worried about pedophiles. So he goes inside, plops himself in front of the television until his parents come home, and they're too busy because they're back from work, and so they order takeout, more fried food. And then he sits in front of his iPad before he goes to sleep. And he doesn't get a good sleep because he's had screen time all day, no sunlight, and no exercise. And this cycle repeats itself for years until he's single, suicidal, over-medicated, fat, sick, lonely, and depressed. And then he turns on TV because he wants to see what a Kennedy has to say about making America healthy again. And what does he see? He sees disgusting-looking senators who are funded by industry cutting him off so we can't even hear what the guy has to say. There are millions of Jimmys out there in this country. They've been neglected, they've been preyed upon, and they want to get healthy, but they don't have the knowledge, the support system, or the environment to make it happen. RFK Jr. is not a perfect person. None of the great leaders are, but he is the perfect person because he has the knowledge, the experience, the skills, and the passion to get inside of the government and turn this chronic disease epidemic around, because this is not just an economic issue. It is a spiritual issue.
And what's beautiful about it, I want to remind you, is that the Democratic Party attacked him, wouldn't let him run, wouldn't let him debate, wouldn't let him exist. And so he reluctantly, being exiled as he was, ended up looking at the Trump Mar-a-Lago team, and they said, come on over, Bobby, come on over. I think we'll get along fine. And he's been a star ever since then. Now listen, this guy is destined to do something great. These people have been preparing their whole life with the lawsuits that he's done meticulously against big pharmaceuticals, and the way that as a lawyer he's had to document with his books, case by case. He knows how they create, kind of like what Chelsea you were saying earlier, how the left embeds into programs stuff. Actually, it was a phone call I had earlier. The left embeds good things into bad programs so that when you try to get rid of the bad program, they point out the school lunch. You're trying to starve kids. So they exploit what they've set as a trap within their big bloated budget, because the moment you try to stop the program, they find one virtuous thing and make you guilty of that. The media spins. The media doesn't control the narrative anymore. There's a counter narrative. So the Senate panel is advancing now to the question of the nomination of RFK Jr. as the health secretary. And there's one key guy, a doctor named Cassidy from Louisiana, Republican, who is a potential swing vote on the panel. Now, he's got a challenge because he's up for election in 2 years. And so he's hearing the thing about the MAHA, the Make America Healthy Again movement. It's got bipartisan populist support. This is not just Republican moms. This is also independents and liberals going, well, I don't trust the government when it comes to these things either. So, bam, you got Cassidy trying to extort from Kennedy, every commitment to not do this and not do that and not do this and not do that in order to get my vote. And you're watching it right there. I mean, I think I posted on X a list of the 15 things Kennedy has to agree to in order to be confirmed. And it's kind of tough. But what does Trump do? I love Donald Trump. With his infinite sense of media timing, he stops and puts his own finger on the scale. Bring up image 11. I want to read this one. Chelsea, read this one for people. What did Trump say?
20 years ago, autism in children was 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 34. Wow, something's really wrong. We need Bobby. Thank you, DJT.
Well, something's really wrong. He went right to the essential message. And so, you look at a statistic like that, 1 in 10,000, now it's 1 in 34. And after you heard, what we opened the program with, with Walters, you come to the realization that even if testing criteria has changed or the definition has changed, I don't think it accounts for 20 years ago, we had 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 34. What's interesting to me is the extent to which people are arguing that there's nothing to see here. I think clearly there is something to see here. One of the things you're starting to see is the Pfizer and Moderna stocks. Take a look at this picture. What's that, Chelsea? Describe that for our podcast audience.
Well, the second Kennedy passed the first confirmation he needed to go through, there's one more left. I mean, the second he started getting through, the stocks of Pfizer and Moderna dropped. I mean, literally, for those listening on the podcast, it just skyrocketed to nothing. And so it's just crazy.
Well, it didn't skyrocket.
I mean, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry.
It plummeted.
It plummeted.
It's hard enough when you can't see it, let alone describing it as a skyrocket.
I just get so angry. I get so worked
I
up.
know
and
you get worked. Well, health is a big thing for you.
This is a big thing for me. I'm so into health, and it's just. And then a part of this that bothers me is everyone's yelling, "Oh, he's anti-vaccine. He's anti-vaccine." He's not. I mean, I've literally heard him say videos where he says, "I'm not anti-vaccine. I think the original intent of the vaccines was great. The problem is what vaccines have become, and now we're not allowed to question them. We're not allowed to ask for extra testing. We're not allowed to actually be scientific and investigate." I mean, the science is about questioning and a hypothesis and checking and experiments, and we're not even allowed to do any of that now. We just have to accept the religion that everything science is perfect and great, and we're not allowed to ask questions. And that's all he's saying.
Well, this is the part that I find so intriguing, is that they're trying to paint him as though he is not in the mainstream scientific community, when in fact the mainstream scientific community did give us the COVID vaccine protocols, the distancing, the lockdowns, the masking, the vaccines, the unemployment of anyone who didn't take the vaccine. And now we're finding, do you think that he's going to go into any of the information regarding the damage from the vaccines? Do you think they're a little afraid that he might actually say, I think we need to investigate what the causation is for the increase in miscarriages in the military after the vaccine? I think that's what they're worried about.
Well, yeah. And then I don't know if any of you also saw, I mean, I just encourage all of you to go watch these videos of him with these people in the government, where he was arguing with, who was it? The guy that ran for president, Bernie Sanders. He's arguing with Bernie Sanders.
Well, we should play. Did we play that one yet?
No, I don't have it pulled. I'll find it for later. I'll find it.
Look, we got 3 minutes in this segment. We should play that. It's hilarious because, you know, and he knows these guys so well. He kind of like breaks protocol. He doesn't say Senator Sanders. He goes, Bernie, come on. These are Democrats. They've known each other for 40 years. It's like, Bernie, you're taking more money in from the pharmaceutical. And Bernie goes, no, individuals are giving it to me. Yet still you get more money from being aligned with the pharmaceuticals. Here, play that segment. Just do a minute and a half of it.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? It's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. And protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
small
contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate PACs.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in the industry.
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question.
I thought you would bring that up. You got to admit, Trump provides quality entertainment in things we never watched. How many, I don't recall a time when, as a Christian community of people that are really in a different world so often, we're actually watching civics, and it's like, grab the popcorn. Let's watch how they're handled. By the way, do you know how Tulsi Gabbard got that shock of gray hair?
No. How?
You know why she continues to wear it?
She's stressed out.
It came out of the trauma of her military service.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And she literally decided, they said, you want to dye that part? She said, no, just let it be a reminder. I'm just going to wear it like a woman. That shock of gray came out of the trauma of her exposure to military. I mean, think of it, man. This team bears in their bodies You could see in Kennedy. I mean, even asking Trump gave him the pen that signed the executive order to expose who was behind the killing of his uncle and his father. You've never been alive at a moment like this, ladies and gentlemen, where history is intersecting petitions and prayers. God is literally dropping mantles from heaven right now in the church, and I think we really have to rise up. I think we're a little bit as stunned as everybody else. I think we need to grab this moment and say, Heavenly Father, what do you want to do in this country, in this third great awakening? When we come back, we're going to answer more of that question. Don't miss it. I have something special for you today, my friends. It's a word for what is happening right now because you're entering into a Trump era, an era that you fought for and that you prayed into. I had 2 or 3 specific words God gave me about what's happening with Trump, and it's not like I haven't been there from the beginning. This is my original book where I predicted the term Trump derangement and Trump derangement syndrome, where I said Trump would be called Cyrus in the Middle East. He would be considered another Cyrus. Then around 2020, I wrote, here's the next 10 years. I had no idea if Trump would get elected or not, but I saw a decade that was going to be impacted by Trump. You've got the story of exactly where the sequence is with the chaos. I even give a code for what the nations are going to be doing during this period of Trump. And it's happening exactly as I said. I want to make sure that you get this book. Actually, I want to make sure you get both of them and the message that I have, which is on where we're at and how we go through the window. And what are the areas of 3 or 4 places of reformation that the church is being invited to step into and can miss the window if we don't go through with vigorous intentionality. And then I've got my really cool MAGA hats. I want to make sure you can get a hat. I've got a black hat, like my Elon Musk cool black and white MAGA hat. Got the original red and white, and then we have a white and gold. And all of this, it's the America's Comeback Bundle. You can get it at lancewallnau.com/America. I want you to get the hats, the books, the prophetic words, the teaching, bam. lancewallnau.com/America. And let's move forward together. Turn the moment into a movement. God bless you. They can mock us all we want. The fact of the matter is, Donald Trump, the modern-day Cyrus, now a modern-day Darius. Isaiah 45, and now that was the verse for Cyrus. And now we're watching something unusual happen. We're watching the reemergence of Trump, and I have a friend of mine say that he's like the transition from Cyrus to Darius, who was actually in office to administrate the rebuilding of Jerusalem, Nehemiah's great project that took place, and the restoration of the temple. And I bring that up to you because the pattern of what took place when Israel went back to the land to rebuild is the pattern of what's taking place in history after Israel goes back to the land in 1948 and are rebuilding. And Trump recognizes the historic cycle of the constant destruction that takes place against Israel from the Palestinian terror state at Gaza. Now, I know this freaks out people. I've got friends of mine that are Palestinian in Israel, and they're beautiful people. But in Gaza, what you have is Hamas, and you have Hezbollah in Lebanon. Both are militantly funded for the destruction of the Jewish state. You can't have peace when you've got whole cities or territories under the control of militants funded to destroy you. So Trump, what I'm laughing at is I'm watching Benjamin Netanyahu trying to, and I know you can see it if you discern it, he's awkwardly trying to keep up with an out-of-the-box solution. I mean, this is not a typical State Department solution. It would be like, well, we're going to provide UN peacekeeping forces, and then the United States, we're going to put a lot of money in, and we're going to rebuild from the rubble, and Hamas will still be there, and they'll still be fomenting their rage and propaganda. But this time, we're going to have a peacekeeping forces there. And Trump says, oh, forget that. That's not a solution. Well, it's all rubble. Mow it down like a parking lot, and then rebuild what a beautiful resort community. It's right there in the ocean, and it could be a jewel out there. I mean, this is a cash cow if it's done right. There'd be resorts and hotels and peace and jobs and stability. And by the way, nobody wants the Palestinian community. All the Arab nations and all the activists on American campuses, which are right now thinking twice about manifesting, because Trump said, hey, you got any nationals that are out there protesting America on these campuses? Get them out. Kick them out. What the heck? Are you kidding me? Trump just said he'll kick you out. Well, what are they going to do? Rise up on the campuses? Trump, amazing period of time we're in right now. Here's what Trump's saying. No country wants the Palestinians. They all complain and moan about Israel and the Palestinians. Well, all right, why don't you want it? There's 2 million of them in Gaza. Why don't you want to open up in Jordan over there? Well, no, we don't want them. Why? Because they're trouble. Everywhere they go, they create terrorism and chaos. How about you, Egypt? No way, man. I got a border. I got a wall against them. Why? We don't want them here. They're nothing but trouble. You understand this? This is going to get out like a rat sandwich when it hits the liberal media. This is the facts, people. They're trouble. And so what you got to do is you got to detonate the Hamas virus. It's almost like anti-Semitism. You got to blow it up and get rid of that ideology that they're putting into school children. That's why they were killing Jews and sending selfies home while the parents are all teary-eyed and cheering on their kids because they're going up against the Jews and killing them, killing babies, killing women. Yay! It was like a sports event. That's how crazy the thinking was. And a lot of it came with government funding through the UN. This is what Trump knows. It's like, oh, my God. You put that in that Queens developer's brain, and you know what? Here's what he's going to do. He's going to go, stop right there. But he shocked the world, again, saying, Greenland, I'm looking at Greenland, and Panama, fix that. I think we're just going to take over that thing in Gaza. Trump is like wild. So you can hear it in his own words, and then watch. I'll go into the press conference with Benjamin. You're going to see Benjamin awkwardly, really just saying that's a crazy idea, but hey, man, if anybody could do it, it could be him. Go ahead and.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. Level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism, so many attacks against us, so many trials and so many tribulations. He has a different idea, and I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think it's something that could change history.
He has a different idea than he's exploring it. It's like he doesn't dare want to get in the way of a crazy idea, but it's a crazy good idea. I want to read something to you from Zephaniah. We're going to bring, Chelsea brought this up, I think it was great of you, Chelsea, to be searching the word and searching your internet sources. But it's about Gaza. For Gaza, it says in Zephaniah, the prophet, chapter 2, verse 4, how the Lord is going to judge his people's enemies. For Gaza shall be forsaken, and Ashkelon a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. These are all words that Gaza is still there today. And that word for Philistine is where you get Palestinian. Woe unto the inhabitants of the seacoast, the nation of Kerethites. The word of the Lord is against you, O Canaan, the land of the Philistines. I will even destroy thee, and there shall be no inhabitant. And the seacoast shall be dwellings and cottages for shepherds and folds for flocks. Now here's the verse that may be coming into fulfillment right now, ladies and gentlemen, live in our prophetic perspective. And the coast shall be for the remnant of the house of Judah. not the Philistines. The coast shall be for the remnant of the house of Judah. They shall feed thereupon. In the houses of Ashkelon shall they lie down in the evening. For the Lord God shall visit them and turn away their captivity. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know. I mean, man, what will Iran do? How will they want to attack that territory? One can only imagine. But the coast shall be for the remnant of the house of Judah. The coast of Gaza? Trump, as a modern-day Cyrus, may be once again entering into the affairs of the Middle East and doing what Prophet has put him there to do. I'm going to tell you what I was told by the Lord. Call me crazy. It's like Kim Clement used to say. We used to say, call me crazy, but I think I'm hearing God. I was in Jerusalem 2 weeks before Hamas attacked Gaza. I've got family members in Ashkelon. The Lord said, it's my will that Donald Trump be president. I thought, oh, it's the Lord's will. And the Lord said, for the sake of the nations. He doesn't want to get involved with nations. He just wants tariffs, peace, and get China no longer a threat, get Greenland for a base so he can protect America. He's interested in prospering America. But God is going to use him for the sake of the nations. I can't believe we only have 3 minutes left of this segment. Play real quick, Marco Rubio. What's happening with El Salvador? Another Cyrus leader. I told you about him, Kelly, a Christian who's transformed El Salvador, and God's raising him up to help solve a problem we've got. Where to send the criminals? Go.
The president, in an act of extraordinary friendship to our country, knowing the challenges we face in the U.S., has agreed to the most unprecedented and extraordinary migratory agreement anywhere in the world. He has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality, be they MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and house them in his jails. And he's also offered to do the same for dangerous criminals currently in custody and serving their sentences in the United States, even if they're U.S. citizens or legal residents.
You know, my son Carl years ago said this to me, said that he was pointing out that the prison industrial complex is actually a private enterprise in America that people invest in, and they make a return on investment. That crime actually pays the profits of people that like to incarcerate. And so he was pointing out, it was a hard pill for me to swallow. I thought it was a government thing, that prisons are government entities. But in fact, he was pointing out how the prison establishment is actually a private enterprise. Well, Trump knows that it's an expensive private enterprise. And so what he is saying there is it costs less to incarcerate in El Salvador than here. And he would rather export criminals to El Salvador and pay half for the incarceration than to have this goofy system. We've got men and women's prisons and women getting raped and pregnant and because of the trans ideology and surgery being done on inmates, which Kamala Harris, you could say she tanked a lot of her credibility wanting to provide for surgery for inmates so that they could go to women's prisons and such. And what you're looking at here is Trump saying, no, I actually think we need to do it. Hit it. Oh, we don't have time for this, do we?
Well, we can go over on the podcast.
Huh?
We could go over for the podcast.
All right, I got 57 seconds. If you want to catch the rest, don't forget, Lance Wallnau.
So if you're watching on Real America's Voice, we're about to end, but you can go to lancewallnau.com/podcast. You can find the show on any platform. You can find this episode, and you can keep watching with us.
Yeah, I want to get this next one where Trump says we're going to send our worst criminals. And he might have a problem because you watch how this is going to be such a dilemma for politicians because it might require Congress to agree to export or remove from American soil American citizens who are in the criminal justice, system. But he's saying take the very worst and send them over there. And Bukele says we got a great prison system here, and it actually can be profitable for us. We'll take care of them. And wow, Trump thinks outside the box. And that's what you asked for. That's what you prayed for. And that's what you got. It's an answer to prayer. And we're going to be back with those of you that are leading us on Real America's Voice. We'll see you again next week. The rest of you, Stay with us right now. I want to go to video cut 17. I want our audience to see this.
Horrible people. You see them pushing people into subways. The train is coming. Last week, guy walking around, just sees somebody waiting for the train. Train's coming 40 miles an hour, and he gets pushed into the subway. And that happens all the time. These are sick people. If we could get them out of our country, we have other countries that would take them. It's no different than a prison system, except it would be a lot less expensive, and it would be a great deterrent. Send them to other countries. If we could go a step further, in other words, we're talking about getting the criminals out of our country that come in through other countries illegally, right? The illegal migrants, as I call them. Well, we have people that are just as bad as them in our country. If we could get them out, I'd be very happy.
You know, it's amazing. You can always hear the shrill sound of the left-wing media. It's like, it takes such presence to be in that kind of a wolf pack. And because they all just, they're just going to descend on you with the talking points. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? But Trump's essential vision for the fact that Gaza will never be at peace as long as you have 2 million angry Palestinians ginned up by global funding to be at war with Israel. That land will never be prosperous. It'll never be good for the people that are there. What's going to be interesting to me is I told you that Jordan, which already has Syrian refugees there in mass, how are we going to create 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 pockets of communities for the Palestinian refugees to live in those communities? How is that going to be done? Because it would have to be done in Egypt and in Jordan, because if it's done in Israel, it's just little bases of discontent that will attack Israel. So what leverage does Trump actually have? He has $1.9 billion worth of military aid and assistance given to Egypt. We've got a 10-year, $10 billion plan working with Jordan, I guess, to assist them with economic development and with the refugees. But Trump has leverage. I mean, he doesn't approach these things without knowing that there's a way that this could be done. And he uses that power in an extraordinary capacity. And while this moment is there, you're seeing it. And the coast, Zephaniah says, shall be for the remnant of the house of Judah, and they shall feed thereupon. It's interesting. We'll see how prophecy may be unfolding right before our eyes. And yes, Chelsea.
Well, there is a theory circulating on the internet of one way Gaza might end up looking. If you guys could show it on the screen. It's a Trump hotel and casino in Gaza coming soon.
Well, Trump has a vision, and he talked with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He showed him the same thing. You got great land here, great Why are you doing what you're doing? This could be a prosperous place. He showed him a pitch deck on how he would develop that North Korea so that it became frankly, an enterprise zone, the jewel of Asia. I'm sure Communist China wasn't pleased with that presentation. All right, well, we got so much more to do. Every day there's something new coming off the Trump train, and you can even see biblical prophecy beginning to collide with current events. That's why it's always good to be here with the Lance Wallnau Show. Subscribe where you are watching. Leave a 5-star review. The reason why I need you that are faithful, that have been with me to the end, the 5-star review, because on the Apple Podcast or on Spotify, it takes us out of the weeds into the visible realm where people can find us. And then when they find us, they get to hear all the other things they won't normally hear from other podcasters. Okay, God bless you. Stay connected. Subscribe anywhere you watch. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. We're entering a period of time that has increased hostility against people of faith. It's a time when Christians are going to be tested on a moral, physical, psychological, and even a financial basis. I'm here to remind you that God is the one who has blessed you thus far, and He will take care of you in the future. You have a divine responsibility, however, to see trouble and prepare yourself. For example, with record inflation eating away at the value of the U.S. dollar, The savings in your retirement account is in danger of slipping away. I recommend diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Now that includes no penalties, there's no taxes when you transfer current retirement funds into Birch Gold. To see how it works, I want you to go to lancewallnau.com/Birch and get your free info kit, and you'll be glad that you did.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate